The Saudi Arabian government paid to help fund the attacks of 9/11. The FBI knows it, and the FBI covered it up. That's off some freaky website, right? Not this one. This one is the claim of the former senator from Florida, Senator Bob Graham, who was on the Intelligence Committee. Not some quack conspiracy theorist, but the former head of the Senate Intelligence Committee. He co-wrote a congressional report on the attacks of 9/11, and he says classified pages, 28 classified pages of that report, could help prove his damning allegations. In an interview with none other than the New York Times newspaper, Senator Graham of Florida said he'll fight to prove his claims. He told the Times about a meeting with FBI agents following the terror attacks. He says the agents took him to a secret location and that one of them, in essence, told him to get a life, that he was following a dead end. Senator Graham said the FBI went beyond cover-up into what he calls aggressive deception. Senator Graham accuses the FBI of hiding the fact that it had investigated a Saudi Arabian family in Palm Beaches in Florida for connections to the attack. He says the agency has pictures and documents that prove multiple connections between this family in Florida and the 9/11 hijackers who were training nearby. He says the family escaped the country just weeks before the attack, that the family left the refrigerator full of stuff, left all their things in the house, and after years in this one home living peacefully in the neighborhood, vanished. And less than 2 weeks later, the towers came down. A federal judge is right now reviewing some 80,000 documents involved with that investigation to decide what, if anything, can be made public. Senator Graham of Florida says those documents could be a smoking gun that could prove that the Saudi Arabian government aided the terrorists. Not people, but the government. If the government did that, aided the terrorists who knocked down the buildings, then that's an act of war, right? If that's what happened. Well, that is the allegation from Senator Graham of Florida. For its part, the FBI denies all of this. In a new review, an agency commission issued a statement saying that the Saudi family in Florida had no connections to the attacks. The FBI blamed a special agent for the investigation into that family and reports that the agent could not explain why he investigated the family. Fox News senior judicial analyst Judge Andrew Napolitano was here. These aren't new things. These have floated for a long time.
Well, they're all coming to a head because of a number of events that are happening. One was Senator Graham's interview to the New York Times, which was published on Sunday. And 2 federal judges, as we speak, are reviewing this. A federal judge here in New York City is listening to motions this afternoon, as you and I are speaking, brought by the families of 9/11 victims against the government of Saudi Arabia. The government of Saudi Arabia has moved to dismiss the complaint. There's been no discovery in the complaint yet. They just want it dismissed, and that federal judge is deciding whether or not to dismiss it. At the same time, a judge in South Florida, as you indicated, is reviewing the 80,000 pages of FBI documents involving the Sarasota Saudi Arabian family. That's the investigation that the FBI...
I said Palm Beaches. It's Sarasota. You're right. It's on the West Coast.
Right. That's the investigation that the FBI says was improperly conducted by one agent, and he can't remember why he started the investigation. Well, whatever he did, he's got 80,000 pages. Senator Graham and his people have moved to open up those 80,000 pages, and a federal judge is reviewing them. So those things are happening at the same time. Now, what Senator Graham wants released is something I suspect he has already seen.
Why do you suspect that?
Because he was chair of the Senate Intelligence Committee in 2004 when the Senate when the 9/11 Commission report was released, and President Bush ordered 28 pages held secret, and President Obama has reconstituted that order. So 2 executive orders holding it in secret. Those 28 pages are about the Saudi government's involvement in 9/11. The writers of that report, former New Jersey Governor Tom Kean and former Indiana Congressman Lee Hamilton, the co-chairs of the 9/11 Commission report, want those 28 pages released. Senator Graham wants those 28 pages released. We don't know what's in those pages, except that we do know it pertains to the Saudi government, and 2 American presidents don't want it released. Add to this the following. Last year, President Obama signed an agreement with Saudi Arabia to provide for the sale of $60 billion, with a B, dollars worth of weaponry over the next 10 years from American arms merchants to the Saudi government. You have a very dangerous stew here.
Senator Graham, many of our viewers may remember him. He's the one who knocked off Jeb Bush for governor of Florida at one point.
Right.
Powerful senator. When you're on the Intelligence Committee, you know a lot.
And what the government reveals to you when you're on the Intelligence Committee, they make you take an oath not to reveal to anybody. So you're sort of hamstrung. Here you are, a popularly elected official who's made promises to the voters who've elected him, and you know these horrible truths and you can't reveal them. You may recall Senator Feinstein got around this by revealing the evidence of torture on the floor of the Senate, where she cannot be prosecuted or sued for what she says. Former Senator Graham no longer has access to the floor of the Senate because he's a former senator. So he cannot reveal these awful truths that he believes the American public wants to know and has a right to know, even though I suspect he knows them.
Think what he's alleging. He's alleging that the Saudi Arabian government knowingly funded an organization that was about to commit an act of war against the United States. If what Senator Graham is saying is true, that's an act of war.
Well, he's also alleging...
We killed 3,000 of our people.
He's also alleging the flip side of this, which is that the American government knows about this.
And is covering it up.
Correct. 2 presidents.
I don't know what to think of this.
Well,
It'd be nice
I
to
don't
see
know
the
what
28 pages, unless they have a good reason they must.
It would be nice to see the 28 pages. It would be nice to see the 80,000 pages that the South Florida federal judge is reviewing. It would be nice to see what the federal judge here in New York City is reviewing as he decides whether or not to allow the lawsuit against the Saudi government to go forward.
Hillary's on a van.
Promising transparency, no doubt.
Yeah, Marco's going to be at the Freedom Tower tonight. So
okay.
We'll worry about those things.
That's what we talk about.
19 months of that.
I'm happy you're bringing this up.
I'm interested in it.
These
I don't
are
want
unhappy truths.
You know what's going to happen? The truther's going to go all bonkers now. But, I mean, if Senator Graham says he wants to know, it'd be interesting to find out. Got to go.